Here we go then. We are ready. We are in position to begin the second half of this competition on this Friday in the Esports World Cup. At the end of today, the first club championship points will be given out. The first champion will reign supreme. A maximum of 8 races on this day. We have completed 4 of them. Do we need all 8? We'll have to wait and see. Darren McCormack will be leading from pole position. Marcel Chinchik alongside someone who knows how to win around this iconic circuit. And then there's the trio of red lines behind, looming large with Bennett, Siggy and Job. How's this one going to unfold with this incredibly long run down into the first corner? It's Darren McCormack who will lead from pole position. We get the show underway and we will lead down into the first corner with McCormack as we fly our way over. We can see some of the jostling for positions as Kevin Siggy looks down the inside to try and go either way of Marcel Chinchik. Chinchik still darts back out to look to the inside of Darren McCormack as we send our way into the first corner. Bennett getting strong on the outside. He'll go all the way around, but he will cut over the inside. Now we'll have to rescind that one back as there's contact and Vitality are being pushed down the order. And here we go. The contact continues as Redline come through almost completely unscathed.
Yeah, look at that. Now the Redline cars all in the top 7 after all of that. They seem to somehow manage to avoid the chaos every single time. They're doing a really good job of that.
I know they dropped down the order a little bit, but like you say, they just seem to pick their way through it so brilliantly. A bit of contact here between Rietveld and Fiala, but you're so right. They just seem to navigate without losing too much when you look at, you know, even Virtus.pro and Vitality are side by side. Oh, there's more contact as Fiala gets into the side of Rietveld. Rietveld will now come out on top as they work their way through the right-hander of Lesmo 2.
Yeah, Rietveld just needs to get on the back of Sebastian Job here just to need a helping hand really with some slipstream, just so he's not under complete attack here from Fiala and Chinchik. That is a disaster for Team Vitality. My goodness, they were fighting each other off on the exit of the first corner, and it looked like Chinchik was going to spin completely. I think he got recovered by one of his teammates, but then the teammate ended up spinning instead. So completely disastrous. Yajovski and Kazabon both 6 and 8 seconds off the back of the pack. That's going to be very difficult for them to recover anything from there.
Yeah, and they're probably not really going to gain anything, like I say, anything major realistically from that point on. So definitely not where they would like to be in this race. Basically off the rear end of the pack and struggling as they continue on. Big lead, well I say big lead coming in at least for the top 2. Now we've seen McCormack and Bennett battle. We saw a great battle between them around the Jeddah Corniche circuit earlier on in the week, and I get the feeling we're going to see some more.
Yeah, these two guys have been locked in battle all weekend, and it's been really good to watch. They've been very evenly matched. Let's take another look at this first corner. What do you make of this, Lewis?
This is just always how it goes down there. It's chaos. Luke Bennett skipping out over the left-hand side. I think he's receded the position, so it's nothing too major. But they just, when you're 4 wide, you just get sandwiched between each other. And we can see there, here's even Ewan O'Leary's reaction. Seems to not even care.
Yeah, it was an interesting corner. I think, was it Chinchik chopping across the curb, and you kind of bounce across awkwardly as a Redline driver onto the grass, backing out eventually, trying to make some inroads here. This is Toman looking back with Statsenko just behind, and then the big block of Redline cars. Even though they drop back a couple of positions, I think this is actually a good situation for them to be in. They've got plenty of laps here, 7.5 more laps, just to try and slowly but surely make their way through this order.
And Statsenko is currently in 4th position, which would be very handy for him and the Virtus.pro team. They ideally need to be scoring some more, because at the moment they'd be on 174 points. The reason why that makes a bit of a difference, they'd be 76 points away from final spot. They need to score some more so that maybe in the next race, if they have a good one, maybe they can get it. Because you wouldn't want, imagine they are 76 points off, and the next race they somehow get a 1, 2, 3 and a 4, and you'd be sat there looking at yourself being, oh, but we should now be in finalist mode.
Yeah, just as much as you want to get points for yourself, you almost need to get points to deny Team Redline having an extra opportunity or getting finalist mode a race earlier. You deny them that opportunity possibly. So Toman here and Statsenko need to do everything they can to keep the Redline cars at bay.
Bennett remains patient at the front end of the field. He was close enough to go for a move, but decided better of it. They worked their way through the Retifilo, the opening chicane around this Autodromo Monza Nazionale. Now we go back to the battle for 3rd. It's Toman, it's Statsenko, it's Siggy, Job and Riyadh. Fiala also just about keeping himself into this train with a big gap back to Ellis Jr. and Marcel Chinchik with some important points. Vitality, 10th, 11th and 12th. I don't want to say it, but I will say it. They're effectively out of the Esports World Cup, and I don't even think they'll be runners-up as they were back in 2024.
No, it'd be a difficult, long journey for them to recover second place in this World Final. I think, as Jem alluded to in the pre-race talk, Toman and Statsenko, it's almost like Vitality and Virtus.pro kind of need to be one team now. They need to kind of work with each other. Statsenko needs to kind of just push Toman along, try and force, work together to push away from Kevin Siggy and Sebastian Joe behind.
Look at the focus there on Darren McCormack. That's as he's navigated the infamous Ascari chicane that we ride on board with Wojtek Fiala through. But you could see how much there he was wrestling the car. Even though it's a sim, even though it's it's a game, you're racing around a virtual circuit, it's still so much work to wrestle this car around.
Oh, it is. These guys are on the top of their game. It takes a lot of mental stress, mental toll to get this completely right. And putting a race together is a series of decisions and timings. You've got to get them right, and these guys are doing it for the most part. Darren McCormack is doing a very good job, except for the last race. But now we go 3 abreast into turn 1.
Siggy sending it, he's trying to do so. Yuri Toman turns in because Mikhail Statsenko was there. He had to skip over the chicane. Now Yuri Toman will surely have to give something up there. Statsenko was definitely ahead. Race control, I'm sure, would look at that anyway. But Toman finds himself in 3rd position. The driver who has now completed the most races in R1's history is in 3rd position, trying to keep Statsenko at bay as they dab onto the brakes into the Roger. He's not giving up. He feels he was forced wide, which I can understand why, but then I almost feel like he maybe turned it. I don't know. It's a 50-50 one there.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think they'll probably just continue as they are. Kevin Siggy, they're just having an exploration into getting into 4th place. He kind of backed out, and I think he'll try again in a lap's time maybe. But he's just having an early look at trying to gain positions. As we've seen from Redline, they are very patient. He's not going to go for a move that is not really on. He'll just wait for the right opportunity.
Well, let's see. This was the 3 wide then. So this is on board with Siggy, who'll dive himself onto the brakes. He kind of gets squeezed there. Statsenko's in the middle, and that was where Yuri Toman has just run wide. We'll just say, update from race control. Yuri Toman has a 3-second time penalty for an unsafe track re-entry on lap 1 at turn 2. That's when he skipped over at the opening chicane on the first lap, I believe, maybe causing a bit of the incident. However, race control have seen that it's 3 seconds time penalty, and importantly, 3 penalty points for Vitality, so an extra 3 points taken away from them.
Yeah, that is not good news at all. So it was Toman indeed who was skipping across the curb, who kind of triggered the rest of the carnage. And now here comes Kevin Siggy around the outside. He's going to get the assistance of Sebastian Joe here, and look at the difference it makes as they head towards the corner. Turn 1, Siggy is going to be able to hold the outside line, which gives him the inside, of course, for turn 2. And then, of course, he's going to get the assistance of Sebastian Job on the exit. And so he does secure 4th place eventually. Yeah, and if you're behind now, he might hear when they go up into the braking zone at the Roger, he might somehow try and give his teammates some extra assistance. He's going left and right, trying to figure his way through. Not going super defensive as Kevin Siggy. They go onto the brakes into the Roger. Job's trying to find his way through. You can see the champion's key there. Will they be retaining that in 2025? At the moment, they head the points, but it is certainly very, very, very far from over here. You could see there the Virtus.pro key, the ones that are challenging them harder than I thought anyone really could in this competition. Yeah, for sure. Virtus.pro have been putting up a very good fight so far. Of course, I think that spin from McCormack in the previous race was huge. He's been carrying their campaign so far, getting 25 points 3 times in a row, 75 points. He's probably going to get another 25 here, or very likely to do so. That'll be at least 100 points from McCormack himself. If unless Bennett can get past him, he still remains just under half a second behind us, Bennett. So keeping him honest, McCormack, he's not really one to fall under too much pressure, although he did in the previous race. A very uncharacteristic mistake from him to push him back. But now, Kevin Siggy getting through eventually, halfway through into the race, moving up into 4th, and now the rest of the Redline team's drivers are going to look to get past Statsenko.
I know the Le Mans chicane. This is the kind of thing is everyone's being like, oh well, the incident of the Le Mans chicane was definitely not McCormack's fault at the last round, but he will still hold turn 1 in his head. But he's seeming to deal with it now. His teammate though, Statsenko, the highest place of the Virtus.pro drivers that aren't McCormack, is now trying to fend off a trio of very hungry red lines. Which way are they going to go? Around the outside, remaining in 4th position is Kevin Siggy. Now this is important because look at them all line up on the inside as they go around Curva Grande. Can he get back in line? Just about. Well judged by Statsenko, as this time to the outside still Sebastian Job goes nearly 2 wheels in the grass.
This is really good defence from Statsenko. He's 1 against 3 and he's somehow keeping it in 5th place, in the 2nd place in this group. I don't know how he's quite done that. The cars, the red line cars massively have the advantage here. You know, 3 against 1. You'd think that they'd be able to help each other through, but it's not quite happened. So Statsenko doing a really good job here to remain in 5th.
So good. I mean, look, he's kind of... there comes this point as a driver where it goes through your head. How much do you want to win this? And that is what channels you through the race. Yes, they aren't long races. It's only 9 laps around Monza, but the pressure they deal with is the pressure that some drivers deal with over an entire season. Let's take a look at this replay.
Yeah, this is Siggy going around the outside, getting a bit of an overlap, and then getting the eventual inside line for the 2nd corner, getting good traction off the corner in the M4 GT3 and moving up into 4th place.
Again, good bit of driving. I think, like you say, in trying to be on the inside for the second part of the Rettifilo, typically you actually kind of don't really want to be there. You want to be around the outside, it gives you the better drive off, but he was trying to just like open the door for his teammates. He's trying to bring his teammates back into it, but not quite yet. Will the slipstream for Sebastian Job afford him an opportunity into the 1st corner? Statsenko will be closing in. We've got 3 laps left to go here at Monza, the 5th race of the final day in the Esports World Cup. We can go to a maximum of 8. Will we need all of it? I mean, Ewan O'Leary was pretty open at the start of the day, saying absolutely we do.
That looked quite close in the rear-view mirror. I don't know if you guys spotted that, but Rietveld, I think, was under assault from Fiala from behind. So that's just opened up a bit of a gap here. So Job and Rietveld opening 8 tenths between them, and that's probably good work from Fiala to kind of separate the red line cars to give, you know, basically it's no longer a 3v1 or a 3v2. As Fiala goes side by side, now 3 abreast nearly into Lesbo 1. How's this one going to resolve itself?
Yeah, Chinchik's to the outside, and I think this is kind of what, at the moment, Rietveld's trying to do. He's trying to kind of put the 2 Aston Martin teams against each other here a little bit. Fiala, Chinchik, Ellis Jr., they all go side by side through here, or at least line astern, and now Ellis Jr. is going to try and find his way through, but it's Chinchik trying to make the move in the light yellow and green Aston Martin there for the Vitality team. They'll head their way up towards the Ascari chicane. Chinchik could get freight trained here. He's going to try and send it around the outside as they go into Ascari, and still holds on in the middle. Great stuff.
Yeah, that was really good defence. I think this race has shown some really good defending and good decision making. That's Rietveld on the screen, and that was very good intelligent driving from him. He's kind of saying, yeah, no thank you guys, I'm just going to drive off into the distance now, as these guys are left on their own, already a second behind. So that could have gone very badly for Rietveld if he had made the wrong decision and just got that a little bit wrong. Instead, he remains there in 7th and actually opens up quite a big gap. So he's kind of on his own now, looking pretty safe with 2 laps to go.
At the moment, if things were to finish as they stand, Team Redline would be 28 points away from finalist mode, which means, I'm not saying they're guaranteed it, but they're basically guaranteed it. To go into race 7 in finalist mode, I suspect they would be able to score 28 points between the 3 of them at the next race at Fuji. I just don't see how that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, that will give them 2 chances to try to win a race and become the winners of this competition. Now it's up to the other teams, of course. Now, interestingly, Redline haven't actually won a race today. 4 races so far. This is the 5th one. Luke Bennett very close to the back of McCormack, as we can see here. He's got 1.5 laps to try to win this one. I mean, will he even try it? Because he doesn't really need to, per se. It's not going to change the score too much. But you know, there's a big risk with going for a move.
But two things. Number one, going for a move. If you force a mistake out of Darren McCormack, remember he is 4 license points away from a race ban. You put him close to that, again, you're just making your life a little bit easier later on in the day. And if anyone is going to deny redline on a day like this, when it's their finalist mode, it would be McCormack. Now, if you can get him into a race ban, not necessarily for the next race, but for the one after, the one that you're probably going to need to win, that's that. You know, I'm not saying they're going to do that, but by racing McCormack, you're almost forcing his hand. So I think for Bennett, he'd be silly not to try.
Yeah, exactly. I think McCormack, I mean, if he wins this one, he's got one more lap to try and do. He would have won 4 out of 5 races.
Yeah.
And of course, to win the competition, unless it goes to the end of the 8th race, you do have to win the race. Here comes Bennett, though. Is he going to go for it? No. He backs off, just waits behind for the time being.
It's just so difficult to overtake, though, around here. Once you've gone past this point at T1. T1's the great overtake opportunity. Yes, you could do it into the Roger, but it requires a lot of risk. Yes, you could do it into Ascari, but it requires a lot of risk. T1 is the safest place to do it as we look our way back. Statsenko, Siggy, they go side by side. Going through Curva Grande, Siggy on the inside.
Yeah, fair play to Statsenko. What was that? What we're
race lead.
This is for the race lead. So that was McCormack defending the Della Roger. He's got a poor run off the corner. Is Bennett going to be able to get up the inside into Lesmo 1? He's got the line. Not quite able to do it there.
He's squeezing, he's trying, but McCormack is holding firm. They go their way into the right-hander at Lesmo 2. These two, they're good mates off the track. They're proving that they're vicious rivals on it.
Yeah, really good racing, good respect. As you say, good friends, good respect shown. But this isn't over yet. Coming towards Ascari, he's got another opportunity, puts him on the inside line. Can he go the long way round?
This is so brave from Bennett. Let's see what he can do. He's going to put it all on the line as he goes straight to the outside of Ascari. What a fantastic move from Luke Bennett, but it is not done yet. We head our way out of Ascari. Darren McCormack all over the rear end. He's going to go full send. Surely he's got to win this race. That's all that's going through his head. It's McCormack versus Bennett. We've seen it time and time again in the 2025 Esports World Cup. Into the Parabolica. It's surely going to be a drag race to the line. It's covered off brilliantly, but for the first time today, it looks like Team Redline might be on the top step of the podium. The drag race takes us all the way to the checkered flag, and it's Bennett across the line to take victory. His 5th time at LAN and his 3rd time in the Esports World Cup of 2025. What a superb drive and an important victory as they move one step closer to finalist mode.
Absolutely incredible from Luke Bennett. I was saying it earlier, Team Redline, they're patient, they wait for the right opportunity.